brand new album High releasing next week on September 20th. Keith Urban is opening up in a new interview about his dysfunctional family dynamic and collaborations on the upcoming record. You may recall recently hearing that Keith Urban showed up at a Buc-ee's and played a jam-packed show, even serving food to local patrons. When the flyer first went up on social media, many people thought it was a hoax, but as locals headed down to that Alabama Buc-ee's, they were shocked to learn a stage had been set up. Hardly the place for a concert to happen, but Keith Urban was on hand. He said he had visited a Buc-ee's and had an idea that it would be a perfect place for a concert. And now, in a new interview with Billboard to discuss his upcoming record High, Keith Urban opened up about some very personal songs on this record. On the song Break the Chain, Urban opens up about growing up with an alcoholic father, and Keith Urban himself struggled with sobriety in the past. He told them, "I started playing this guitar that co-writer Mark Scabilia had in his studio with flat wound strings and a rubber bridge, and it just made this interesting sound. The opening riff was what I played, and I started singing these words, and the song just came out. I had no intention of addressing some of my raising and having an alcoholic father." Keith Urban is now a father himself, sharing 2 daughters with his wife Nicole Kidman. He said, "I don't know if my dad, who passed away a long time ago, would be okay with the song or not, but he would love that it's truthful, and the intent of it is a forward motion of trying to do things different. I guess I'm still working through things that I thought I was long at peace with." But it's been a long road for Keith Urban's upcoming album High. In fact, he even scrapped an entire record before this one, starting fresh with an entirely new album that would eventually become High. He called the scrapped album 615. He said, "I attempted to make a very different record, and that didn't pan out, so I scrapped it and followed my muse and ended up with this album." It was back in February of 2023 when Keith Urban brought that past album 615 in to play for his team. He said, "I thought they were going to go, 'Great job, Keith. Let's get these singles out. Let's get this tour booked.' And instead, it was just crickets. And I was like, oh, okay, this is not the record. I said to everybody, let's push the tour off to 2025 and let's go finish a proper album." Keith was then asked about his sobriety. They said, "There are a lot of songs on here about drinking and drinking to excess, including the totally loosey-goosey Laughing All the Way to the Drink. As someone who's been in recovery for a long time, do you ever have pause about not wanting to send a drinking message?" He said, "None at all. Separate to my recovery journey, I'm exactly the guy I've always been in my spirit, in my edge, and devilishness, whatever you want to call it. All that stuff happened coming up playing in the clubs in Australia and then paying my dues here. All of that is still a big part of who I am. And so now I sing those songs from having been in those places. Messed up as me. I know exactly who that guy is. Laughing all the way to the drink. I know exactly who that guy is. But in a lot of these cases, I'm also singing to people in the audience. I see that guy in the audience every night. He doesn't seem to have a lot, but he seems to be the guy having the best time. And he's a hardworking dude Monday to Friday. He's my dad. My dad was up at 6 a.m., and he'd be drinking all the night before. So those songs are all places, people I know. They're real songs in that regard. Every one of them. The new album also features a collaboration with Lainey Wilson called Go Home With You. He said of the song, "I wrote this song with Breland, Sam Sumser, and Sean Small in 2020. That's one of the quarantine-type songs where everything was shut down, and we so missed being in a packed club with your friends and music and fun. It was never written as a duet, but then I wanted to find something to do with Lainey because I just knew our voices would sound good together. She loved it, and she sang the second verse and sent it back to me. She sent a bunch of options because she had to change the melody to suit her key, and then just did some ad-libs and bits and pieces. I just sifted through it all and chopped and edited. She just killed it." You can check out the full interview over on Billboard. The new album High from Keith Urban releases on September 20th. That's your latest update from CountryCast. Be sure to subscribe with notifications on for the latest news and updates.